At 6:42 a.m. on September 19, 1944, Lieutenant Edwin Leeper spotted something that froze his blood through the dense fog of the Arrogance region in France. Just 9 meters away, emerging like a ghost from the mist, was the barrel of a German cannon. A Panther, the most feared tank of the Wehrmacht. Leeper commanded a platoon of 4 M18 Hellcats from the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion. His men called that machine the matchbox, not out of respect, but out of pure terror. With armor only 25 millimeters thick, thinner than a book cover, the Hellcat could be pierced by any German weapon. A single direct hit, and the crew would turn to ash. But there was a reason why that matchbox was there, face to face with a 45-ton German steel beast. And in the next few minutes, Lieutenant Leeper would prove that speed and audacity can defeat brute force. After D-Day, Allied forces advanced rapidly through France. But in September 1944, near the city of Nancy, General George Patton faced a critical problem. Military intelligence reported that the German 5th Panzer Army was regrouping with hundreds of Panthers and Tigers, the most powerful tanks in Europe. The Americans had a numerical advantage in Sherman tanks, but everyone knew the brutal truth. To destroy one Panther, 5 Shermans were needed. And 4 of them would never come home. It was in this scenario that the M18 Hellcat entered the fray. It was designed with a revolutionary philosophy for the time. If they can pierce us anyway, why carry heavy armor? The Hellcat sacrificed protection for something no German tank possessed: pure speed. With a 400-horsepower radial engine and weighing only 17 tons, the Hellcat reached 88 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest armored vehicle of World War II. Its open turret meant certain death against grenades or snipers, but it also gave the crew total visibility of the battlefield. Hellcat crews developed a simple but deadly tactic: hit and run. Never face a Panther head-on. Always strike the flanks. Let's return to the mist of that morning. Lieutenant Leeper had seconds to decide. The Panther was 9 meters away, too close to miss, but too close to escape if he did. He ordered his platoon into position and to fire at will. The 4 Hellcats scattered instantly, using the fog as a curtain. The principle was clear: if a Panther starts turning its turret toward one Hellcat, it exposes its flanks to the other 3. The first shot came from Leeper's Hellcat. The 76mm shell pierced the Panther through the side. Explosion! The German tank became a furnace in seconds. But the fog didn't just hide the Americans. Suddenly, 4 more Panthers from the 113th Panzer Brigade appeared, advancing in formation. The Germans had 80 millimeters of sloped frontal armor, practically impenetrable from the front. Their 75mm L/70 guns could destroy any Allied tank from 2 kilometers away. What happened next lasted only 5 minutes but would change tank warfare forever. The Hellcats split up like a wolf pack. While 2 drew the Panthers' attention from the front, the other 2 flanked at high speed, 88 kilometers per hour in open terrain. The 45-ton Panthers turned their turrets slowly, but the Hellcats were already in new positions. 3 Panthers were destroyed from the flanks. The Germans tried to retreat, but a Hellcat was already at their rear. The 4th Panther exploded with a shot to the back, where the engine was unprotected. 5 German tanks. 5 minutes. Cost: 1 Hellcat destroyed. But the battle was just beginning. As the fog began to dissipate, Leeper's platoon could finally see what they were up against. More than 30 German tanks advancing with supporting infantry. The radio crackled. The entire Company C of the 704th Battalion was receiving orders to defend Rechicourt. 12 Hellcats against a full Panzer Brigade. American tank destroyer doctrine was clear: never stay still. The Hellcat was not a tank, it was a predator. Attack. Reposition. Attack again. During the next few hours, the Hellcats executed a perfect dance of death. They used hills, trees, and buildings for ambushes. 1 Hellcat would lure the Panthers into a kill zone where 2 others waited in hiding. By the time the Germans realized the trap, the Hellcats were already 400 meters away, repositioning. Sergeant Henry R. Hartmann became a legend that day. His Hellcat alone destroyed 6 German tanks, mostly Panthers. His technique was surgical. He aimed at the junction between the turret and the hull, where the armor was weakest. The shell would ricochet into the ammunition compartment, resulting in an instant explosion. A German officer captured later described the horror. It was like being hunted by ghosts. You saw a flash, your tank was hit, and when you turned the turret, there was nothing there. They were too fast. By the end of the day, the numbers were devastating. 15 German tanks destroyed. American losses, only 3 Hellcats. But that was only the first day. The Battle of Arrogance would continue for 3 more days. The Germans could not believe it. Their Panthers were being systematically destroyed by light American tanks that looked like toys in comparison. The German command ordered reinforcements. More Panzer brigades were sent. Tigers appeared on the battlefield. These 57-ton monsters had armor up to 120 mm and an 88 mm cannon that could destroy anything. But even the Tigers had an Achilles heel, a top speed of 38 km per hour and a slow turret rotation time. The Hellcats were simply too fast. They attacked and disappeared before the Tigers could respond. In open terrain, a Tiger might dominate, but in the hills and forests of Arrogance, the Hellcat reigned supreme. During one particularly intense engagement, a platoon of Hellcats was cornered by Panthers on 3 sides. The German ambush seemed perfect. But the platoon commander ordered his men to charge straight through them. The Hellcats accelerated to maximum speed, passing between the Panthers before the Germans could react. In the process, they destroyed 2 tanks from the flanks and escaped unscathed. An SS officer would later call this the tactic of lucky suicides. At the end of 3 days of battle, 39 German tanks were destroyed compared to 4 Hellcats destroyed and 3 damaged. The 10-to-1 ratio was unprecedented in tank warfare. The Panther had lost its aura of invincibility. The true test of the Hellcat came in December 1944, during the last great German offensive of the war, the Battle of the Bulge. Hitler had gathered his last reserves, 400 Panthers, dozens of Tigers, and thousands of men, for a desperate gamble. The goal was to break through the Ardennes, split the Allied forces, and capture the port of Antwerp. The attack began on December 16, amidst one of the worst winter storms in decades. The fog and snow kept Allied aircraft grounded. The Germans had numerical superiority, total surprise, and the weather on their side. The 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion and its Hellcats were rushed to reinforce the 101st Airborne Division in Bastogne, the city that would become the symbol of American resistance. On Christmas Day, the Germans launched their most massive attack. 15 Panthers from the 15th Panzer Division, with grenadiers mounted on them, attacked positions defended by the 327th Glider Infantry Regiment. The Hellcats responded with fury. Even in snow-covered terrain and reduced visibility, they executed the same deadly dance they had perfected at Arrogance. Flank. Shoot. Reposition. By the end of that bloody Christmas, 27 German tanks were destroyed while 6 Hellcats were lost. The American infantrymen were impressed. One paratrooper wrote in his diary, "Those guys in the Hellcats are insane. They take on Panthers as if they were toys. God bless them, those magnificent madmen." What was the secret? How did a tank with paper-thin armor destroy Germany's most powerful war machines? The answer lay in the design philosophy. While the Germans built tanks for long-range artillery battles, where armor and firepower were supreme, the Americans built the Hellcat for mobility and tactics. The American field manual was clear: the tank destroyer is not a tank. It is a predator. The doctrine emphasized never facing the enemy head-on, using speed as armor, and working in groups. The open turret, while risky, provided total visibility of the battlefield. Furthermore, American crews were trained in something the Germans neglected: Maintenance under fire. The Hellcat's engine was mounted on steel rollers, allowing for removal and replacement in less than an hour. German Panthers frequently broke down and were abandoned for lack of parts. The final war numbers proved the effectiveness. The M18 Hellcat had the highest kill-to-loss ratio of any American armored vehicle in World War II, 2.4 to 1. The Hellcat teaches us something profound about war and strategy. It isn't always the biggest, the strongest, or the most armored that wins. Sometimes it is the fastest, the smartest, and the most adaptable. The Germans built the Panther to be the ultimate tank. Technically, it was superior to the Hellcat in almost every measurable aspect. Larger gun, more armor, more weight. But war is not fought on paper. It is fought on real terrain, by real men, under real conditions. The Hellcat won because its designers understood something fundamental. By 1944, any tank could be destroyed by any anti-tank gun. So why carry 45 tons of steel when 17 tons of speed do the same job? The Hellcat crews were ordinary Americans, farmers, mechanics, college students, who received good training and a machine designed to maximize their chances. They were the matchbox that set Hitler's ambitions on fire. Would you like me to research the specific combat records of the 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion during the Siege of Bastogne to see more individual crew stories from that Christmas Day?